the sponge. I'm using a Master Stay Wet palette. It has a sheet of special paper over a little thin sponge that's wet. So I can paint on this all day, and those won't dry out. Now, if I didn't have that wet sponge in there, it'd be dry within 30 minutes. Okay, where were we going? I was going to demonstrate something here. Let's just find a spot.
What was it used? Paper towel, wet paper towel from your palette?
Yeah, on the end of a butcher tray, just take a section of white paper towel, fold it, strip about this wide. You take one sheet and fold it into quadrants. Wet it, lay it down there, and squeeze your pigment out on that. Now that'll stay moist for a long time. You can work all day on that. It's when you get out here and mix it in the open air that you're always having to spritz it and scrape things off. I think, you know, I'm not a real faithful plein air painter. If the weather's not nice, I don't. But I still pay my dues. But they started a thing in Northwest Arkansas called Mid-America, but anyway, they're trying to get a thing going up there, and they had like, I think they had like 50 artists or something this time. And the first 2 years of that event, I won first place. So they'll begin to not invite me anymore. So, but I love plein air paint when the weather's nice. Now, that's kind of what I'm talking about there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's just do one of those down here. See that stroke? Did you see that stroke? It's the same as some of this. Okay, when it dries, if it looks too opaque, which it doesn't for me, but if it did, I just glaze it with just a little bit of one of these colors with the medium mixed with it, and then it began to look transparent. I can paint this half with half opaque paint, and in the end, glaze it a few times, and you'd think it was a completely transparent paint. So, again, back to pitching acrylics as a versatile medium. There's not any that can claim that. Okay, we're running out of time now. Anyway, what I would keep doing here is building this up, whatever colors I wanted, and quite frankly, a little bit of texture in it, I think enhances it. I just want to make sure nothing's. I'm beginning to kind of like seeing brush strokes. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Let's let that sit there just a second, and then I'll come back to that and go on the other side. I'll spritz it and blot out some of that and begin to build some really nice textures. I can come on here with just period off, real light, and begin to change the color of it. So, as long as I'm staying transparent, as long as I'm using one of those colors that's going to be inherent in a finished thing, then I can just keep building it up and make it as colorful as I want, as varied as I want. Come back and get this little large brush to do that with. Finger painting is nice because it's not toxic. And so you just keep fooling with it, and now let's do a little bit. Give me a few more minutes. We'll do a little bit down here. I get all of my grays and browns with the blue and the transparent red oxide. So if I want to get some kind of configuration of now that's kind of a neutral looking thing. got some, begin to build in some kind of a rock formation there. Now, if I were composing this as a painting, I'd probably be tempted to do something down here in these rocks that kind of repeated that. Okay, I can either put a little bit of medium on it and soften that edge, or I can come back and just with a clean brush. I've got time to manipulate that however I want. And
did you bring some of your DVDs for sale?
yes, I've got some. Now this DVD is painting on watercolor paper, watercolor technique. If anybody's interested in that, this is for Creative Catalyst Production. They do really nice DVDs. That one started as a plein air painting quarter sheet sketch in Bella Vista of an old barn, an old green barn, and then took it to Oregon to their studios, and we did a full sheet they filmed. So they got just a little clip of that plein air thing in the front of it, but the original, when we first started playing with the editing, it had quite a bit of that in, and they played Dylan banjos and they thought it was all hillbillies. But that kind of some of that kind of disappeared after a while. But isn't it funny how people get attitudes about Arkansas? Now, just a couple of, I'll answer questions as long as y'all have them, but let me just make a couple of points here. See, that's pretty ragged right in here. And just like you would with oils, you know, I can touch that. Now that little bit of opaque is not, or I can splatter that. Like the old watercolor technique, which I do an awful lot in some of these big paintings even. I'll lay that thing down even on the floor if I can't reach it. And when they start advertising a show at Greg Thompson's next year, you guys be sure to come.
Yes.
But when it is your quitting time,
We told them they could leave if they needed to, and have not seen anybody get up yet.
Okay, let me make one other point. I told you I get the grays and browns with transparent red oxide and ultramarine blue. That is what I call the backbone of my palette. And again, if you look at any landscape, you're going to find very few pure colors. A lot of these need to get muted a little bit at this point in time. Kind of like this. At some point, a lot of this stuff was kind of glaring at you. It's so bright. But if you mix a little of this mix of blue and transparent red oxide into any mixture, it'll mute it just like gray. It makes it gray. Or you can glaze it. You can vary that from a brown to a cool gray. Those two, just try doing a painting. I've got paintings done with those two that you consider a full color painting. It's just those two.
Ultramarine blue and red oxide.
Transparent red oxide. Matter of fact, there's one in the book, I think.
Is it similar to burnt sienna?
Okay, in the book it says burnt sienna.
Right.
Now let me tell you why. It's because I've tried every brand of burnt sienna I could find, and it didn't mix well with the blue until I found Winsor Newton Infinity. It mixed perfectly. So I went on saying, you know, Winsor Newton burnt sienna. And then I find out, and I was asking Mr. Graham, who has M. Graham, he furnished paints for our workshop once too. And the students, he gave us a whole. I like it when those guys show up. But I asked him, I said, what is the deal there? I mean, you're burnt sienna. He said, theirs isn't burnt sienna, it's transparent red oxide. They call it burnt sienna. So then I started buying transparent red oxide, and several